Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of SHENZHEN I. I forgot to read the next not mission-based email in the last episode. Oh well, you have it now. Although I often don't actually read these out loud. Cleanse your body of harmful nanoparticles. Nanotubes and other kinds of nanotoxins. Herbal, homeopathic. Okay, it's good to know homeopathy is alive and well, even in the nanotube era. A free bottle of Wi-Fi wash, specially formulated all-natural body wash that removes Wi-Fi buildup from the surface of the skin. Alright, that's a funny email. You guys might want to read the rest. But the real meat, haha. You remember the meat? The real meat of this episode is the puzzles. So here we go. An electronic door lock. Security nightmare. I've heard some things about this one. I don't know. I kind of read some Reddit where people were talking about this. I kind of remember. I didn't read any spoilers about what you're supposed to actually do, but I got the impression that maybe the test inputs are not as thorough as they should be, and some incorrect solutions can count as being correct. I don't know. Anyway, remember Sleep Cubes, the capsule hotel company we did the little game console for? No, I didn't know that was a hotel company, but I do remember that game. Wait. Oh. I remember a game controller, not a game console. Maybe they're referring to before I joined the company. They're back, this time asking for a lock that's based off the nation's national ID card. Loads of privacy concerns, not to mention the fact that a trivially clonable master key opens any lock. But a job's a job. I've stayed at Sleep Cubes a few times, they're not so bad. Get thrown out of a club or something. As researching our customer. Actually using the product or service is a great way to familiarize yourself with the company. It's a natural part of healthy business corporate partnership. Yeah, Joe, I was expecting him to say something about being totally hungover, but he didn't. So, yeah, Carl noticed. Alright, so on we go. Card reader is an XBus input. Alright. We have two things on the left, which are probably both inputs. There's an XBus input. Learn is a simple input connected to a button inside the room. Unlock is a simple output connected to an electric strike plate. The door is first unlocked by the hotel staff using a special card, which is a bunch of nines. There are more than 8 nines here. I remember that they only had 8 for their credit card things when we did the ATM. Seems a little weird that National ID would have more digits, but okay. The door's unlocked using that. The user can then reprogram their lock by holding the Learn button and scanning their card. When the user scans their card again after reprogramming, the door should be unlocked. Any card other than the user's card or the hotel staff card should not unlock the door. To unlock the door, the unlock signal should be held high for 6 time units. Okay, well that seems easy enough. That's just a gen, right? Okay, so what do our tests look like? So we get Learn is being held, and interestingly, it's not. They don't insert the card the same time unit they press Learn. In this example, anyway. How about anywhere over here? No. So we're being asked to reprogram it. That's a thing to keep in mind. But okay. We just have the one. Yeah, so. Hey, this has enough pins. We could do it. But it doesn't have enough code space, I assume. So I think the thing to do is basically can we assume the cards all have the same number of digits? They all seem to have 10. So let's say yes. So the thing to do is basically sleep until we receive an XBus. Ignore the fact that they're pushing the button until we actually get a card. And then when we do, check whether the button is pushed, If so, write into the RAM unit. If not, read from the RAM unit comparing yeah. And we need to be careful to do this for actually 10-time units. We can't like sleep for the next input or whatever, because that'll be a totally different input. Okay. So do we need a chip this big? Probably, right? And we need this. And like maybe we end up needing some more, but this is like the outline of what we need. We need at minimum this, right? Oh, I forgot. We also need to check whether it's all 9s. That's trickier. Does that ever happen after we've learned a new card? Or can we just initialize this to being all 9s? Do we ever, so we learn it here. Do we ever get a bunch of 9s after that? We do. So we can't just forget the 9s once the thing is programmed once. Okay. That's a little trickier. So it seems like that doesn't impact how we write, but it will impact how we read from this. And So it seems like the idea is to loop 10 times with 2 state variables, and we can probably do this as a binary thing. Yeah, we'll just store a number that is either 11 or 10 or 1 or 0, a 2-bit number combination, basically. And every time we look at a digit, we'll say, is it 9? If not, turn off the bit that says that it could be the host card. Is it equal to the next bit from here? If not, turn off the bit that says it could be the guest card. When you get to the end, if any of the bits are non-zero, then you open the door. The problem with that is that that's now 2 places that we have to do math, right? We have to do math on the loop counter. But we don't. Because we can use this guy's address register as our loop counter. And we also have to do math on the digit set we're holding. Okay. It's nice that we don't have a non-blocking XBus input like we've had in some previous ones, because then it would be a little awkward. We'd have to sleep. We'd have to treat the first number differently from the next 9, because we'd have to move it into DAT to like check if it's a valid number. But actually, we can just sleep until it's ready, and then 10 times do the thing with it, whatever thing we decide to do. Okay, so I think we can program the door relatively well, programmed this, I should say, relatively simply. So maybe we should do that first. We'll wire it up like this. Put that there. That there. I'm using this wire instead of this one because I might need this to connect to a second chip I'm imagining we might need, if it turns out to be too much work to handle both reading and writing in this guy. So the thing to do is to sleep X for X1, and then initialize this to be pointing at 0. It will already be the first time, but we need it to, after we've gone through it once, we'll need to reset it back to 0 again. So let's move 0 to X3. And now we need to test whether P0 is 100. If not, let's jump to open. Okay, now that is a label we have not yet defined, but I want that to be not necessarily saying open the door, but rather check if this input is a valid open sequence. Whereas what we're doing now is setting what should be a valid input sequence. So what we'll just do is basically test equal x3 of 10. If it is equal to 10, jump quit, then we're done programming it. Otherwise, we will move X. Actually, this is not the right way to do it. We'll label this program, I guess. So we're programming the lock. If it's not, we don't need this quit label. Well, we might because of this open thing. I thought I quit the seam. Whatever. So if it's not equal to 10, then we need to move another byte. So we move x1 to x2 and jump to prog. So there, programming it was easy. I feel like we're not going to have enough bytes here to actually handle reading and verifying whether the key that we've been given is a correct one. Right, like do we? Let's try it, I guess. Right now there's a few too many jumps. I feel like I can remove at least one of those if it comes down to it. But so my thinking is as follows. We're going to start by testing whether ACK is not ACK. X3 is 10. Wait. Before that, we need to move 11 into the accumulator saying that so far we haven't gotten any bytes that indicate that it's an incorrect card, either for the hotel key card or for the guest's key card. And then we're gonna do some tests that will change that number. So what are we gonna do? If first we check whether the thing is 10. Oh, geez, yeah. I'm not sure we actually have enough bytes to do all this. Yeah, we're gonna have to do several. It's like we can maybe, it seems like, actually succeed in finishing testing the card in this time. But, well, okay, so one, we probably don't want to do the thing I did above of doing this test equal before we start, because we're going to need some conditional instructions inside of this loop. So we'll put the test at the bottom, which should also be fine. Could I do that here and, like, save a test? I think so. Actually, here's an interesting thing. The way that I've written this, don't we kind of... No. I was thinking we almost can fall right through this without having to jump over it at all, because all the interesting stuff will be disabled, right? But we can't exactly, because we've moved a 0 to the address register, meaning that this test will always succeed on the first pass, or it'll cause us to do stuff rather than fall through. Right, I'm not sure exactly how to do it. But I do think we could. Wrong modifier key. It's such a professional recording you guys signed up for. So what I'm thinking is we can do basically this, right? Save us one test that doesn't matter. One test that was guaranteed to fail. Maybe? We're gonna fall through into the open case now as well, though, aren't we? Yeah, there's just not enough space on this chip for me anyway. Tells me I probably just need another chip to do this work of verifying the key card. I wanted to look up the gen instruction, but it's not even in this dang manual. I gotta go digging through my old emails to see what inputs gen takes. Undocumented instruction. It takes a pin which has to be fixed, but how long a pulse you generate can come from a register. Can it come from an X bus? I don't know. Okay, so what I want to see is, can I write gen P0, obviously we're not going to actually do that, like x1 4 or something, or 5. Like, can I do that? Is that allowed? I can. I can read from XBus how long I want to send a pulse up for. Okay. So that means I could, like, for my test opening the door case, I could send a message to some other chip, sleep on its result, and then send a pulse to the door that is either 0 or 1, with a length of either 0 or 6 based on the result that I get back. And the reason that that's important to know is because this guy needs at least 3 XBus connections, right? 2 to connect to this and 1 to connect to this other chip, which means we can't use this guy with the simple I/O to connect here. We could do it with a muxer to expand his XBus input into a direct output, simple I/O. But A, that's expensive, and B, we can't use a gen then, so... So I think it's sort of simpler to do basically like connect that up there. Oops, stay put. So we've got the whole programming bit down. Interestingly, when we get to open, I was thinking we would have to kind of jump over open when we're done with programming, but we won't. What we can do is just make all of the instructions here be minus prefixed. Because we know that if we get here through this jump, we're in minus mode. And if we fall through this jump, we're definitely not in minus mode, right? Amazing. So what we can just do is move 11 to x0 to wake up this guy. Sleep x for x0. And gen on P1, a pulse that is high for as long as x0 and is low for 0 time units, right? Then all this guy has to do is check the 2 things here. So he's going to sleep x for x2. Oh, I forgot. He needs to connect to these 2 ports, not 2 others. All right, so let's give him a little space. The bridging is probably a little bit excessive, but it's the simplest way to adjust the problem that we created there. Right, so this way we're using the same pointers as this guy is, and we can reuse this initialized to 0 in for both the read and the write case. Okay. So we sleep for x2. We move x2 into ACK. That's our initial state, which is why I sent an 11. Right. So we have a little problem, which is that we don't have the input from this anymore. Oh, but we could get it if we wanted, right? This guy hasn't read it at all yet. He just slept to see if it was there. So it's a little silly, but I think we can do this. It should be allowed, right? Ah, darn. We are going to need this input twice, right? Oh geez, this is getting to be a bit of a mess. We're going to need this input twice. Once to compare it to 999 or 9 or whatever it is, and once to compare it to what's in the RAM. So we can't just read it off the X bus once. We're going to need to save it off the X bus and put it into DAT or something. We can't do something clever like you might say, well, you know how you sometimes, like, I don't know, you try subtracting 10, whatever. What I was going to say doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any sense. There are some cases where, like, you need a number twice and you can't easily have it twice, but you can sort of, like, oh, I need to subtract from this, and then I'll get back the old number by adding what I subtracted. So, like, subtract 9, do something with the result, and then add 9 back, and, like, ta-da, you got the original back. But we can't do that because we don't have an accumulator to do math on. Ours is busy. Oh, yeah. So we need another register over here as well, which is pretty upsetting. What a mess. It was okay when it was just this amount of chips and a ton of messy wiring. Adding one more chip just makes making the chip larger just makes me sad. But I think we have to. We'll have to rewire a tiny bit, but not much, I think. Oh, actually, wait. So what's the deal here? Yeah, we just need to scoot over by 1. And, like that. Which is because we need to get this under there. And I guess, you know what, it would be a little prettier if we went around. Gross. Ah! Just wanted to erase that, although apparently I didn't want to erase that much. Oh, alright, never mind. I take it back. That was the whole point, was that this bridge needs to be a bit further out to the left. Okay. So here's our code. Move x2, which is going to be 11, into our ACK. And then we need to move x3 into DAT so we can inspect it. First, what we need to do is test equal DAT to 9. And if not, then digit set, let's say that the least significant bit is the one for the hotel master key. Digit set 0 to be 0. Test equal DAT against this one, which is wired to x1. And if not, then digit set 1 to be 0. Finally, test whether the address pin, which is x0, is equal to 10. If not, jump back to the loop to keep reading, which should be here. And then what we say is we test equal ACK of 0. Wait a minute. We can do better. No, we can't. Yeah, we'll just do the dumb thing. Test equal ACK of 0. If so, move 0 over x2. If not, move 6 over x2. Sending back a report on how long the door should be left open for. And we do have like simple I/O pins available. We could control the door ourselves. So maybe we should do that? I was thinking we need to send this guy back a message saying, hey, wake up. But we don't actually, because he can just go back to waiting for this. Oh no, he can't. Because this will still be reading from this. Like if he just sent us a message saying, hey, check the door, and then he slept waiting for a message from here, he'd get one right away. He would steal it from us. So instead, we need him to wait for this chip to say, I'm done. Go ahead. Boy, this looks like a bit of a Rube Goldberg machine, which tells me that I'm, like, maybe not doing this in the best way. I'm probably also not doing it in a correct way. Like, that's important, too. But, I don't know. Right now, the general algorithm seems okay. Maybe I don't have it coded up perfectly, but I have enough slop that I think I can fix whatever mistakes arise. So let's start testing. So everyone's sleeping, nothing happened. Button is pressed, but nobody cares. Now we wake up. Move a 0 to x3, initializing this RAM chip to point to the beginning again. And then we say, is the button being held? Yes. Therefore, we will program the key, not try to open the door. We move x1 to x2. There it goes. And test whether we're done reading. We're not, so we jump back. 9019, yeah, okay, so let's just skip over all that. And like magic, the user's code was input into the first 10 numbers correctly. Great. And eventually they let go of the button, but we don't really care. Oh, whoops! These were all supposed to have minuses, I forgot. Alright, that's not a big deal. So we're sleeping up in here, which is not here. That's good. Alright, here comes a new key being pressed. Move 0 to x3, initialize where we're going to read from. Well, in this case we'll read, but we don't know that yet. Is P0 high? No, therefore jump to opening the loop, the door, which is basically just move an 11 on x0, yes, to this guy. And then he's going to sleep waiting for a result back on x0. So let's look at this one. What does he do? Move x2 into ACK. It's 11. Now we move x3. This thing is ready to write, and apparently it knows it's going out here and not here somehow. Alright. Move x3 to dat. Shoo, there it goes. We read a 9. Test equal dat 9. Yeah, it was. Therefore, don't unset the 9. We have not yet proven that it's not a valid hotel key MasterCard. Test that it's equal to x1. Well, that was equal to, so it might be a valid guest card. All right. Is x0 10? No. Therefore, jump to the top of the loop and continue. Now this time, the number they're giving us is a 9. Is a 0, I should say. Which means we do need to say, yep, this is not a valid hotel master key. But so far it matches the user's card, so don't unset that. And let's skip over a few instances of that. ACK should be staying at 10. Okay, there's, I think, just one more, maybe 2 more to read, I'm not sure. Well, actually, dat is 0, which means, yeah, we're reading this one. So there's 1, okay. There we go, we read the last thing. It was an 8. Okay, so it matched the user card. We didn't unset that. AC is still 10. But x0 was equal to 10, so we didn't go back to the top of the loop. Is x 0 now? It's not. Therefore, send back a 6 saying, please open the door. This guy does a gen on P1 with the value of 6, holding it high for 6 time units. There we go. Looks pretty good. Here we're reprogramming the key. And now we got, I accidentally skipped over it, we got a key that doesn't match. Why is the timer pointing here? Did I accidentally command click on this or something? Is this a breakpoint? No, what does this arrow mean? That's spooky. Oh, that's the actual current time. Right, we already read all this and we didn't open the door, so I think we're done. That's kind of cool. I like the messages going back and forth along this bus. Looks nice. Cool, a lot more variance in how people solved this one. We're pretty standard on lines of code. Well below average on power use. We're at the average, well, the most common production cost, but I think below average, right? There's a lot more stuff to the right than to the left. So a pretty reasonable showing, I think. How'd we do? This is the least secure security solution I've ever seen, and I've worked on voting machines. If you ever stay in the sleep cubes, bring your own lock. So interestingly, we did not get any new things over here. So I know we're getting sort of close to the end of the puzzles. I checked somewhere and someone said there are, I think, 30 of them. And we've done like mid-20s worth, so maybe there's just 4 left. I don't know. But I guess there's one more email to read. Shenzhen Days, the point of it all. Talked about the scale of things here, the capacity in all these factories and ports and markets. And I've asked, where's all this going? Not to get all existential on you, but it's an important issue and one that tends to crop up after big economic strides. In some sense, yay, we did it. After a lot of hard work and sacrifices, we've secured a hugely important place in the world. But now what? Call me a nutter, but engines of creation like these just haven't existed before. It's only now dawning on us what could be done with them if we started coordinating them all, like robot overlords, right? That's what we're talking about here? What if someone with some imagination were to start doing that? Putting the whole city to work on something together? What could you build that way? Yeah, that's what they've been doing. They're building some sort of horrible robot overlords, and we're going to be the ones who did it all. Okay, well, now it seems like our coworkers are starting to figure out the sinister overtones. So I'll just leave you guys with that email, I guess, and say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.